still remember that first time I walked into a gym. I was 14, 15 years old, and looking at all of the machines, the free weights, and the bodybuilders working out and building their bodies. I knew what I had to do, and I knew who I wanted to become. But never did I think it would take me on a journey that led me to where I am today. It's been hard work, a lot of commitment, discipline, and a fair share of failures too. But I can promise you this, to anyone just starting out or thinking about giving up, stay with it. Set your goals high and dream big.
I remember the lat pulldown was one of the first exercises that I ever did, walking into that gym for the first time. Back was the muscle group that I wanted to train. I think so I was reading through one of the magazines and saw the huge bodybuilder. It was like a 2-hour workout for me at least, of back. But I didn't know anything. I just wanted to follow it as it showed me. Lat pulldown, deadlifts, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, and a seated row. I still remember that feeling, I loved it. And that's the workout that we're going back to today. Every set, every machine, and everything as I remember that first time. Being a 15-year-old kid and not knowing any better, I was just putting that weight up and down. I wasn't properly engaging my muscles, my form wasn't correct. Safe to say that I didn't really experience a good workout until a few months later when I developed those skills and learned how to execute the exercise correctly. From day one, I was told that stretching is an important component of bodybuilding. Defining, conditioning, growing your body. It's not something I always do, but when I'm reminded of doing it and I come back to those basics, the fundamentals about training, it certainly helps me with that workout and I don't feel as sore the following days. So it's one of my big tips. Maintain an active stretch throughout each of your exercises throughout that entire workout. Once I reached my heaviest weight that I could lift for those 10 or 12 reps, instead of trying to push that weight even higher and risk injury, and I'm not executing that muscle the way it should be, I quickly learned about drop sets, rest pauses, and a whole host of other methods that we're going to be using throughout this exercise. So 4 or 5 reps at a heavier weight, and as soon as I hit failure, I'm going to drop that weight by about 20% and go back to complete as many more reps as I can. Looks a good weight to start with, and one thing that I'm not going to make the same mistake twice is lifting without any clasps on. Did that a couple of times in my early years, and let's just say it's not something I want to repeat again. The weight's falling off, everyone looking over, and just feeling like an idiot. So obviously this wasn't a weight that I started at. This is 225, 275 pounds. Wouldn't recommend that any beginner or newbie or inexperienced lifter just jump in with this kind of weight. But I've already warmed up, been doing this long enough. This is my starting weight, and we'll see how many plates we can push it and how my form and technique might change with that. Let's find those locks. I was too hopeful on that one. A little bit too expectant, but hey look, I stepped it up. 2 reps, that's my limit for now. Gives me a goal next time. That's a big jump too, 50 pounds extra. Should have really only put 10 pounds on. A mistake I often made when I first started training, a little bit too overzealous when it came to adding more weight. Instead of working in increments and adding 10, 15% more weight, I'd look for that next big plate. I'd visually be looking at the weight instead of calculating what would be a small jump up. I went from like 405 up to 455. It's too big of a jump. Too much of a shock for my body. It was too big for me at this time to get the number of reps out that I wanted. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. Let's move on. Let's do some, let's go back to some rows. Single arm dumbbell rows. Got the bench in here. Great weather here. Southern California, and make the most of it training here outside. Just by bringing that bench up a couple of clicks, changes the angle of my back. I actually feel a lot more towards the lower section of my lat than I do more in the upper section on flat. It's a great tip. If you're struggling to develop more of the mid and lower section of your back, switch up some of the angles. Incline bench, rows, V rows as well, and also if you can, number of different machines, weighted machines and free weights when it comes to performing things like barbell rows, wide grip, underhand grip. Variation is the key. You know what amazes me? The number of emails and messages across social media coming from people asking about machines and exercise routines. And it kind of makes me laugh that they always start off with they've only got barbell and dumbbells in their gym. And I get it. Often when we film here at the likes of Gold Gym, it's a lot of different equipment, a lot of machines, and often I'm bouncing back and forth between machines that there's a strong chance you may not have in your gym. That's my bad. But if you have dumbbells, barbells, even if they're not the heaviest weight, you can still practically train every single muscle group in your body. You just got to think about how that muscle is being worked and how you can increase that intensity. And if you haven't got the heaviest weights around, utilize circuits, drop sets, combos to push up that intensity, cut down on your recovery time. That will still challenge your body and push you upwards of your threshold. But if you've got the heavy weights, no excuse. Get your form and technique down and start lifting. Just because you don't have access to all the fancy machines or your gym doesn't even have cable machines, there really should be no excuse. Dumbbell held between the knees, legs crossed over, same as a 45-pound plate hanging beneath me. It's added 45 pounds on to my weight, 180 pounds. 225 pounds now I'm lifting. Somewhat equivalent to doing a 225-pound lat pulldown. Sort of. Anyway, my point is, don't leave out chin-ups just because you might see them as a beginner exercise or there's no real benefit to it. Chin-ups is probably the best exercise for the upper back, especially when you can start to overload it and add extra weight on. So I like to start off with cable pull-downs, but towards the end of the workout, incorporate some weighted chin-ups. And the great thing about this is, as soon as I reach that point of failure, let the weight drop, 45 pounds less, perfect weight to then carry on, keep repping out until absolute failure. Okay, first set of 3, wide grip, overhand grip. It's pretty obvious that I'm really flexing forwards at the waist. At this point of the workout, it's not about how much weight I can lift. Sure, I still want to be lifting a heavy amount of weight, but it's that follow through, the range of motion, activating, recruiting as many muscle fibers as I can, and really tapping into those deeper type 2B muscle fibers, the growth fibers. So if you're going to awaken those fibers, that's where you're going to have your best hope of gaining new muscle and size and getting bigger and stronger. So let's change up the hand attachment here. We'll put the D grip on, add a little bit more variation into this exercise. And I think at this point, I'll stick with the same weight and just let that fatigue chase me. There you have it, guys. That wraps up the end of today's back workout. Pretty much replicating the same exercises and a lot of the same techniques and methods that I established within my routine very early on at the ages of 15 and 16. And it really does come down to that. Just honing your craft, really developing a good understanding of anatomy, physiology, how your diet plays a huge role in your training, and just sticking at it. I've been doing this more than half my life, and I'm still learning and finding new ways to grow and better myself. So whether you're just starting out or you've been in the game a while, just think back to what got you started, what motivated you, what had that drive in you. And you'll probably find you still got it somewhere. I know I have. All right, on that note, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You can stay up to date on all my new videos. They're coming weekly with workouts, lifestyle, out and about in LA, and of course nutrition videos. And don't forget, check out my Facebook Live 2 to 3 times a week on my Facebook page, Rob Richards Fitness. Answer your questions and see behind the scenes of photo shoots and workouts like this. Okay, I better go dry off and get some food in me. Till next time, take care guys, train hard. I'll see you back here soon. Bye.